everybody see your screen?
Yes, looks good.
Okay, great. All right, so this feedback session will be focusing on the previous cycle or cycles if you participated in more than one. But we will first do a little introduction to this new session that's starting in a couple of weeks. So we're just going to go through some things there. So you've all been officially accepted to cycle coming up. And as you know, we typically do a training, but since you are all familiar with what happens within each cycle, we're just going to go through some basics for this that might be a little different from other cycles, and then we're going to go into feedback and questions from our previous cycles. So as we were saying, this winter spring cycle, this will go into May for a lot of you, is coming up, and we're very excited to have everybody joining us for the cycle. And so we'll be going over some of our resources that we use during the cycle, as well as a overview of when it's starting and things of that sort. So for this cycle, we have about the same leadership. Maria and I will be leading, as well as Rodwa and Hardik for this session. So you may be speaking with any of us if you're in contact with over Slack or email in general. So feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions, as well as the general micro directory email. You'll be hearing from all of us throughout the entire cycle. So it is a 12-week cycle per usual, and we will be starting on Monday the 22nd of this month, and it will be all tasks will be assigned by email every Monday, unless we otherwise specify, due to either a holiday or something like that, if something should change. Any of these changes will be announced through email and Slack, as well as any other updates or announcements. So most of you are on Slack. There are over 300 volunteers on our Slack channel. So make sure you are on it and you use it. It's very useful. All right.
Yeah, we also have shared some other information related to school and to about internships in the summer. So it's a pretty active channel where you can learn about like opportunities and other even other projects in the lab. So be sure that you have the app, and it'll be easier to just get notifications.
Yes, exactly. So I'll go into Slack a little more after a little more in the presentation. But yeah, as Marie said, it's a great resource for us to use. I don't know if anybody uses Discord. It's kind of like a professional Discord. It's just a nice way to chat and share things that everybody can get. So for the annotations, we will be focusing on our bacteria, fungi, viruses, diatoms, and algae. The main focus for this session will be on bacteria, fungi, and viruses, but you still may get some diatoms and algae, depending on what week you have. So expect a wide array of different types of microbes and the general format to which you'll be annotating with. All this information is also on the CODA. So if you do have more questions about these specific types, you could go there or reach out to us directly. All right, and that actually goes right into our next slide, which is about our resources.
Hardik.
which we have a ton of resources for you guys. As you are all well aware, we have our Slack, which I just talked up, as well as our Coda, our YouTube videos, Dropbox resources, as well as you can reach out to us during through email. So I'm going to take this time to actually talk about our Coda, which I don't know. I think it doesn't get as much attention as as I think it deserves. It really has a lot of information on uh, our annotations on Kobo Toolbox, and a full glossary on our Dropbox link, which has definitions for anything and everything you could ever know about microbes. And if you see something that's not there, we will be sure to add it. It's just a really great place. If you haven't been on the Coda or you haven't been on there recently, please go take a look before the cycle starts and familiarize yourself. It is really great. And I'll do another plug for Slack. Yeah, we do link a lot of things on Slack, and it's a great way to also connect with your fellow volunteers and ask questions about your microbes. So go on Slack, ask questions, post things, post pictures. We really like to see everyone active on Slack. It's kind of hard during this remote work to see to like be interactive, and Slack's a great way to interact with other volunteers, other people in the group. And if you need a direct resource for annotations, our YouTube tutorials are great. So go ahead and watch them if you have some questions on how to annotate, if you need tips on annotating, if you're having some problems. So I'd say that's, besides the Coda, another great place for you to go to see how you can annotate and if you're struggling. As well as our email, which you guys all know, we try to respond to you the best we can. So if you can't Slack us, drop us an email and we'll get back to you.
Perhaps we can hear some comments from the volunteers. What has it been the best resource for you? Do you prefer like YouTube videos, or perhaps like send some articles that we sent to Slack or Coda? Like, what has it been like the most useful for you? Come on, anyone, don't be shy. We're friends.
I think the YouTube videos have been the most helpful. It's a major go-to resource.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, and we will actually like to put more videos on it. So if you're interested on like helping on video editing or putting some content on YouTube, like feel free to reach out to us and we can like organize ideas and put it there. YouTube is very, like, sometimes you're tired of reading and you just want like to relax and watch something and still learn. So that's a great opportunity to document yourself about science and about the microdirectory. I can see someone in the chat. Afri says Coda, Sandy Coda, Fabi has says YouTube, and yes, Coda as well.
I'll just say Coda all the way. So if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, definitely we definitely want to expand that as well. But I think Coda is a great way for like a quick refresher if you don't necessarily want to watch the videos, but the videos are great as well. And so we'll jump right into Kobo Toolbox. You are all very familiar with Kobo Toolbox and the many aspects of it. So Kobo Toolbox is the way you submit your annotations to us, so we can actually see the data that you generate, and it's very useful for us. I just want to remind everybody that if when you're logging in to go on the researchers, aid workers, and everyone else to log in, I'll be sending some information about everything as a refresher as well through email. But just know that if you have some questions about Kobo, that everything's on Coda. It's pretty simple to use, and that our general format for the annotations will be very similar to the previous cycle, so not much is going to change. I really like feedback from everybody when it comes to Kobo Toolbox. I know that there's been some technical difficulties from some volunteers throughout the cycles. So, please let me know if you think anything can be improved, whether it's the actual formatting or content of our data collection form, or the way you're accessing your data and things like that. So feel free to jump in and let me know if you have any questions regarding Kobo. We'll go through a little more in our discussion, our open discussion. But on a general scale, have people been able to use Kobo efficiently, or has it been a little more of a struggle, or it's just been fine? Feel free to drop in the chat, or comment if anybody has a direct comment on Kobo Toolbox.
Krista, just to clarify for everyone,
Yes.
are they going to use the same credentials?
Yes, you'll be using the same credentials as your previous cycles. You'll be receiving an email with some information regarding Kobo Toolbox, as well as the previous credentials you have used. If you have, if you've lost and misplaced them, can't find that email, we'll be sending that to you again. So you'll be using the same ones.
Great. And what about the form? Like, is there going to be a new form with 2020, with the name of 2021, or is it going to be the same as the 2020?
So your previous cycle forms will be deactivated so that no other submissions will be allowed before the next cycle. And the only active form that you should be, have access to is the new 2021 form, which should be very nearly identical to the previous cycles, pending a few edits. But yeah, you'll be seeing a new form on your account. Okay, great. So we're going to jump into some general questions. This is really the point where you can really jump in and speak up and say, can you clarify that more? We generated some of these questions from your feedback that you sent us. So if you've asked that question and you feel like you need more clarification, definitely say so. We're going to try to run through a few of these so we can get to discussion. So all right. So a question we get a lot is, how can we keep track of hours that you participate for each cycle? So general rule is that the volunteers are expected to keep track of their own hours. But if you don't keep track of how many hours you work per week, a typical microbe takes 30 minutes to an hour. It should not take you more than an hour to annotate a microbe. So if you're doing 10 microbes per week, that would be about 10 hours per week or less. So will there be additional lectures or info sessions this cycle? So we are looking to have other people come and give you some talks. We will let you guys know if there is something organized in the future. That will be announced on email and on Slack.
Is there any specific interest that you like to in these lectures, or like talks with other professors? Is there any specific that you would like to learn or to hear
Maria, if I may add, I actually have a professor of biochem, and he does a really good job with metabolism and and just, giving lectures. He's super excited about the material. And I would actually love to ask him if you come and talk to our students. He is a Hunter professor, so a lot of students might know him from the chemistry department. So if that's cool, if people are interested in metabolism, we can definitely get him over.
That's a great idea. We could talk about like the biochemistry of microbes and how the diversity of all the metabolisms.
All right, so a question we got a lot was how to improve your annotation skills. I know it is a struggle at first. It gets easier the more microbes you do annotate. But as was commented, definitely look at the YouTube annotations. Definitely review Coda. I would say keep notes. Keep notes on how you annotate, what makes it easier for you. Maybe have a notebook, maybe have a Google Doc that you add to that gives you little notes and tricks, and you can even share that with your fellow volunteers and peers. It's definitely a learning curve, and again, we're here if you guys need any help. If we need to set up office hours to discuss this more, we're really open to discussing making annotations easier and helping everybody improve their skills.
Just to add on to that real quick, the notebook thing was super helpful to me when I would annotate, if that's something you guys want to start trying to do, because it made it harder to have an incorrect submission. First of all, you had like everything written down in front of you, and then you would eventually just put it into the form. So that was always super helpful.
Yeah, I think that the notebook technique is definitely really useful. I think I used a notebook, and then I used an Excel form with I just made like little notes in my Excel form. I'm on Excel all the time, so it was a little bit easier for me. But if you have a different format that you are more familiar with, that's easier, then I definitely recommend taking notes during your annotations, and then when you're done going to Kobo Toolbox and doing your entries. But some people prefer to have it open and go back and forth. So whatever is more comfortable for you. Okay. So yes, I'm gonna move on. Yeah, again, feel free to interrupt me. I'm trying to check the chat as well if there's any questions there. So yeah, definitely drop some questions in the chat if there needs more clarification. So where can we start discussions about microbes that we are having trouble with? Slack, go to Slack. We actually have a few different Slack channels for microbes. You can go to the general Slack and post there if that helps, but you can also go to the microbe discussion channel. There's a Kobo Toolbox channel if you have specific questions for Kobo Toolbox. So definitely go to the different channels and see where people are dropping questions. And I would say go to the search bar, and sometimes people have similar questions to you, and search something that you may have a question with, and it might even come up, because we do see some questions pop up again and again. So if you have a question, go to the search bar, see if someone's already asked it, and then you can always feel free to drop the question as well. We're always on Slack, so definitely go to Slack first. If you can't find the answer on Slack, you could shoot us an email. All right, so how often is it acceptable to put unknown for questions? So we do understand that some of these microbes do not have a lot of information on them. That could be for a variety of different reasons. That could be because there hasn't been a lot of direct research with them. Some microbes that aren't specifically clinical have less research on them for a few different reasons. So unknown would be if the information is just not available. It's not known, it's not researched. So if you are looking for something like metabolism on a microbe and you just can't find something, it would just be unknown because that information is it's just not there. It's not available to you.
I got to add there that many characteristics of the microbes are annotated by scientists when the microbe is isolated in a laboratory setting and they isolate in a petri dish. So many times, the culture methods don't really work for all microbes. So that specific characteristic, such as the metabolism, as Krista said, is not going to be easy to describe in that microbe. So therefore, it's not going to be available in any article. So if that's the case, if you see that this microbe, for example, it's not easily isolated or has never been isolated, and there is very little information about that, probably the other characteristics are not going to be available. So you get a sense, like the more you are familiar with the microbes, the more the easier it will be to find this like kind of like
Yeah.
clues that okay, perhaps this microbe has never been isolated and seems to be from a remote microbiome, so it looks like it's not really research and you're not going to find more information. So we don't want you to spend like 3 hours trying to find like information out of somewhere and being like a stress because you are putting a lot of unknowns. That's okay. As long as you did your research and you saw that there was nothing, then there is nothing. But nothing is also good because we know that we have a lack in knowledge in that microbe. So we therefore can go and do some research about this family of microbes that have never been isolated, have never been researched, and then we can even publish multiple papers about describing new microbial species. So unknown is not bad. So don't worry if you already spent a lot of time and you have not found any information.
Yeah, exactly. Unknown is just as important as, putting information, because, we want to know what microbes haven't been thoroughly researched, what microbes still need research done on them, what and why that microbe doesn't have information on it. So it may feel a little stressful if you're going and doing your research and you're just finding nothing and you have to put unknown. But if you do have something like that, I would say send us an email with that microbe. We can always put it on our list of microbes that really don't have a lot of information, and we'll keep track of it. So if you do feel like it's a problem, just let us know, and it's really okay to put unknowns. I'll briefly go over. So Na is for like the microbe that really doesn't fit in the norm. It's not applicable. This question doesn't apply to it for some reason. So chances are you're going to be putting unknown instead of Na. But Na is there in case you do have that microbe that doesn't really fit in that question. So it's really, that question is not relevant. This doesn't apply to it. All right, so how do we analyze certain terminology when reading articles? Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with some terminology, you can just you can ask on Slack, you can send us an email, you can search on the web. I would say put it on Slack because the chances are another one of your peers is also struggling with some terminology like this. So go on Slack. You could also check the Coda and go through our glossary with some of this terminology. But yeah, some of these articles have some heavy content. So, just let us know if you need some help. All right. Okay, so coming to the end here. Okay, so how many microbes are we assigned per week? We have 10 a week, no more nor less. There were some questions on if we can have less, if we can have more. Our general standard is 10. If you are struggling with that, let us know. Again, it shouldn't take you more than 10 hours a week to do your annotations. So if it is taking you a significant amount of time, just let us know and we can help you, either improve your annotations or cut down that time so that it's less of a struggle. Unless you enjoy doing your annotations slowly and over, more time. Because I know a lot of people enjoy it and they like reading the articles and doing the research. So further opportunities. So unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, WCM is not currently accepting any volunteers in person. That is a institution-wide mandate as of this point. So, and we are not aware of when that will be changed or lifted. So we will let you guys know if there is a change in that, and there will be an opportunity for not remote work. But right now, that everything is going to be a remote. So if you do have interest in other research, you can reach out to us regarding other projects, but they will be remote projects. Okay. And I know we have some more content following this, but just so everybody knows, the first week does start on the 22nd, which is only 12 days from now. So, everybody get ready and check your resources and be on email and Slack, and we'll be sending you guys a lot of stuff. And I'll leave it open for more discussion and questions if anybody has.